from them in multiple locations at once. First, let me get a little techie here for those that understand network.
Hello, everybody. Hello, everybody. Brian here for quantlabs.net. Hopefully you can hear me okay, but I'll just proceed. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to go over on my desktop here with MotiveWave why the markets are suddenly improving, my views of things. No, it's really no different than what I put up a few days ago. Funny enough, let's talk about that. So a couple of things that I'm looking for, you can see here is what's happening to the US dollar. Here you have the price below our harmonic scan of 4 hours. And basically that means this is a short call or short outlook. And this is using Awanda global market data, as well as, like I said, MotiveWave, the software. So one here, right here, is I'm always looking to see how strong the US dollar is. And you can see here it's a short, but it's there. Other things I look for are safe havens, the currencies. So here we have a bunch, excuse me, here in Scandinavia, Norway, Sweden, and Denmark. We have some shorts here. You can see how over the last few days, hours at the markets in these currencies, in US dollar and those currencies, have kind of taken a fall. So this confirms that we're definitely on an up path for the US markets. So, I mean, it's good. Another thing I'm looking at is we have here gold in Hong Kong dollar, another gold call in Japanese yen, and I'll go into the silver. As you can see here, I find it very interesting on how, why, if the markets look good, why are the gold calls, specifically in the Asian currencies, are now showing a long? That tells me that the gold markets are suppressed and really cannot be relied on for any form of indicator use when it comes to investing in gold. Really comes down to get performance. It really comes down to the currency that you're holding gold in. You'll see the performance can change. A lot of people never factor that. Here we're talking now about silver. You can see here, we had that manipulation with the Reddit groups here. We have a short here, and that's in the silver in British pound and Hong Kong dollar. Now we're starting to see some euro calls. So here euro is all over the map with these different currency pairs. But the ones to really pay attention to are the ones that are calling for longs and how they've been, how they've been operating for the last few days. Here you can see these are our charts. So here we have euro, Japanese yen. It's really kind of going nowhere. Same with euro, New Zealand, and the number of long calls as well. So we have two of those calling for longs. Here we have the Polish again. This really doesn't say a lot. But this one does matter when it's euro in Sweden. Again, that just shows you the thoughts on this assumption of Scandinavian currencies on the short here. So you need to factor that in. Here we have euro in Singapore. Now, usually if it's in an Asian currency, you have either Singapore, Hong Kong, or Japanese yen. Obviously, when it's Japanese yen, you pay closer to attention to it. But if it's in another market like Hong Kong or Singapore, you can confirm this with usually the local market of either Singapore or Hong Kong. If that dollar is moving, then that's safe to say that the market should move as well. There's a number of factors, but there's so many choices out there. It really doesn't matter. What you're looking for is consistency and seeing. I'm going to show you one that we called over a week ago, and it's starting to move, and it looks good because that reversal took hold. So here we have euro, Singapore, Now, this is an important one. We have a long here, as I said earlier, about the US dollar. You can see here we have a long call, and it has been moving up with the Australian US dollar. That is strong for both Australia and USD. But it also shows you when you see more of these US dollar base quotes, you want to see those more and more pointing to longs to prove that the US dollar should move, because what these harmonic scans are really used for is to show you potential outlook on where people will put their capital and where and why. So when you see a call for a long and more of those, and it actually is correct, chances are you just wait it out for a certain confirmation and then start putting money in it, because timing is everything here, as you know. So here we have another safe haven, traditionally looked upon as the Swiss franc. You can see here with the Australian dollar, which should be strong, is we have a short here. So the CHF again shows you, and I don't really put a lot of emphasis anymore on the Swiss franc, the Japanese yen more, and mostly when it comes to forex is US dollar that really pushes everything. You can also say the same thing about the Canadian dollar. This Canadian dollar is all over the place. It's really unreliable, as many other currencies are. Here you can see the Canadian and Japanese yen calling for a short. Again, these kind of don't really move and don't matter. But when you start to see the major markets, you can see here since February, the markets have moved up, has gone a little flat, and now it's calling for a short. We need to pay attention to that. This one is an interesting one because you don't see a lot of long calls for market indices. We have one here for the UK 100, and you can see it's been flat. We have a long here, but when you start to see more of them, we have a second one here, but you'll see more of them pointing down. But this says something that maybe the British economy may start to show some strength. Here we have, again, British against USD. It's a short. It's hard to make these kind of calls because, you know, when you get mixed signals like this, it's better just to stay away. There's just better areas to put money into it. I'm going to show you one that's very solid. British pound Canadian, same thing. It's a short. It's a short here again. Again, you can use this data to show you that, yes, there is something going on, because with Scandinavia, I've been proving in the last couple of months, when markets get bad, it's going to get bad. And it's going to be the first place most people go is to park their cash into Scandinavian countries because they have cleaner balance sheets than anywhere else in the West. Another big call that's really important is the gold. You can see here we have more gold in Australia, not much to say from that. Gold from CHF, we have a long, we have another long. That's mixed because if you're short and long, we have more with the gold in British pound, gold and more into Japanese yen. We have 3 of them here, and 2 out of the 3 are short. So again, you can't really say a whole lot about it because, again, there's really no consistency there. Here we have New Zealand. Now, New Zealand has been an interesting currency to watch because when everything was tanking, no different than the Scandinavian, New Zealand was fairly strong. I think that has to do with 2 things. Their balance sheet's not too bad, but what really matters is this pandemic. They have been always ranked the #1 country on handling the pandemic. And you can see it shows in the New Zealand dollar, and that obviously impacts not just their dollar, but their economy. Again, you see more gold, Singapore, silver. In Australia, you really can't suss these out. You can't really make heads or tails out of this at this point. They're just mixed. We have silver, obviously show some shorts, but if you are trying to determine where to park your money, if it should be in gold and silver, judging from the more longs, as I said, it's better to put it into gold and then really choose your currency carefully to see which one you think will get you better performance and will be stable and a true hedge against if the markets do tank, because it's sort of showing that in the charts lately. the fundamentals are not strong with the US, both on the political, Federal Reserve, and so on outlook. Again, look at Australia, very flat, pointing down. That's the Australia 200. Again, these other calls here, not even worth talking about. They don't say a lot, but there is quite a bit of Australian here. So something, but when you do pay attention is obviously when it's in euro or US dollar, but check it out. We continue on the second one now to see Australian US dollar starting to show some strength with that second long. That is something to pay attention to, okay? And you'll see a reason why, and it ties back to something very important. Check out the Euro 50, has had some great performance here. Again, no different than the US market, showing a sign for shorting as well. Again, more of this Euro, Canadian, Euro. I mean, the only one I pay attention to right now in a lot of years is said the Scandinavian. The Asian ones don't really say a whole lot because they're really unpredictable. Another thing I should mention is that the Eastern countries, Eastern European countries, can also be looked upon as a safe haven. They've not proven to be that, like compared to Scandinavian, but when you get countries like Czechoslovakia or Czech, I guess, Poland and Sweden and Hungary, those are other potential hideouts. Again, here's our first long on the Euro Swedish. Okay, and then we have more calls, as I said earlier, about those long calls on the UK 100. So you have 3 shorts here. So again, that's the sort of thing you gotta be very careful of and making sure you go through everything, which we've pretty well done. But the one I wanted to show you that is really, really telling is if I go up here to that the scans are not catching, and I can confirm this. XCU, which is copper, a base metal for industrial, check that out. That's a 1 hour chart, okay? If I was to show you a daily chart, again, this is a fantastic, and look at the performance there, right there, since, let me just see here, since roughly in the last few days, actually. So we have here, started February 4th. So copper is really starting to show its strength. That's a very strong indicator to show you, as Goldman Sachs was saying, the commodity bull run, the real super cycle is starting now, has started. And another one to watch is oil. So if I show you both the Brent crude and US dollar, you can see that performance is starting to kick up. But I mean, minus these ones here. If you are on my chat server, okay, if you're on my private chat server, you can find here on my store for $10. I post news about this every day. I used to put them in Facebook, but yeah, it's just too high risk to do that with Facebook, knowing all the censoring going on. Anyways, continuing along, Brent crude, check this one out. WTI as well, another one that's just started. So just between these two, a copper, BCO or Brent crude and West Texas are doing really good. Now, there have been some concerns about demand and supply. That's why we're starting to see these red bars on a daily chart. So it's mixed stories, but you'll get that news in the private chat server, and it just confirms what I'm seeing. Copper is nothing but, because you have to understand when it comes to base metals for industrial use, as the pent up demand may start to pick up on everything being produced, let's say in Asia, that will tell you that's a 4 to 6 month lead. So they have to, a lot of manufacturers have to put those orders in now to get the supply out and get manufacturers an end product. And those orders are now happening now. So that's why I'm saying that the market outlook is really improving. And I think it's going to start to really kind of probably take off. And you'll see it probably, and as I talked earlier about US dollars starting to show some strength as well. It may be due to the US, what do you call the stimulus, but even just from a fundamental on an international level, if there's China showing this, it just says something. And I'll show you some other charts. And this is one of the reasons why I think the Australian dollar is starting to turn around as well and show strength, because a lot of what's mined for copper is in Australia. So that's why I'm thinking that. So between oil and copper, good places to be. Also, let's see what's going on with China. So the only two areas we have exposure to in China is the Chinese markets. Again, look at them. That's a daily chart. My question is, does that mean that this will outperform, let's say, the SPX 500? Let's check it out. So what you're looking, oh, hang on here, let me just get that. So if I look at, let's say, the SPX 500. So you could see here on an hourly basis, just between China and SPX, it's gone flat lately. But check out China, it's just been a consistent move up. So you're starting to see, again, China starting to produce. Okay, that's a CFD. You have exposure through, OANDA. Okay, so again, SPX is starting to flatten out. So when you link all those price moves and outlook for iron coming out of Australia, let's say, the US dollar moving ahead with China, the indices performing like that, that says something. Another way we can look at the China exposure is the Chinese yuan as well. That's not doing a whole lot, as you can see, but it's been in a steady decline. Who knows for what reason? But the US, or say the Chinese markets are important. The other area where we can get obviously exposure to anything Chinese or related around it is Hong Kong dollar. Let's check that out as well. But if I'm starting to see what I'm seeing, it's probably definitely exposure to let's see if I can pull up here. So I guess that's the only thing I have access to is in Japanese yen. Let's see here. They changed this. So let's see what we have access to. Not a lot in Hong Kong. So it looks like just that's the only one for now. Okay, never mind. I'll check it out. So you can see it's just been in decline for the currency, but the Chinese market started to really come about. Let me see what's going on in India as well. It's a big foreign third world market. India 50. Again, look at that hourly basis. Done really well, and then just kind of flat. But right now, it is definitely China. Actually, let me just check Hong Kong again. I'm kind of surprised that there is no. I thought you get access to the Hong Kong markets. Here we go. So there's Hong Kong 33. So you can see it's a little better than the US. Glad enough. Thanks for watching there. As I said, if you are into this stuff, what I would recommend, just go over to, when you're into this markets, you can get a couple of trading secret books I've got. Just sign up here to get access to those free PDFs. Other than that, we shall talk to you later. Oops, it helps if I show that. Yeah, so just go to quantlabs.net to get that info, as well as if you want to get in on my chat to see the latest news I post, just go to this link. I'll put them in the description. Other than that, thanks for watching, and we shall talk to you later. Have a good day.